Thank you, Johnny Olson. Greetings again, friends, and introduce our famous panel here on Famous to Tell the Truth.
Kitty Carlisle, Bill Cullen, Ann Mira, and Hugh Downs.
Well, we've got a gentleman coming up who has the true pioneer's spirit, only instead of going west, young man, he decided he was going to go east. And it took him 7 months to travel from coast to coast on horseback. And we'll hear all about this dauntless adventure after a few frank commercials. Now let us meet our dauntless horseback rider.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Jefferson Spivey.
Number two.
My name is Jefferson Spivey.
Number three.
My name is Jefferson Spivey.
Possible in all three cases, but two of them are lying. Here's the real story of Jefferson Spivey. I, Jefferson Spivey, had a dream as a boy to ride all the way across the U.S. on horseback. A couple of years ago, that dream came true. Starting in Santa Barbara, California, my horse and I blazed our own trail through back roads and wilderness areas, across mountains and deserts, through the Great Plains of the Middle West, all the way to the eastern seaboard, ending our journey in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I lived off the land, except for occasional meals at farmhouses along the way. I slept out of doors almost every night. It wasn't an easy trip, but the experience was such a wonderful one that I'm trying to establish a cross-country trail for everyone to enjoy. A trail on which no automobiles are allowed, a trail to help people get out of the cities and close to the land. I plan to call it the Freedom Freeway Trail. Signed, Jefferson Spivey. And no doubt one of the most adventurous gentlemen I know is Mr. Hugh Downs. So let's start with you.
All right, number three, did you have a pack horse with you, or did you do this with a single horse?
I started out with a pack horse, but I lost him crossing the Mojave.
Number two, did you change saddle horses, or did you just rest the horse? In other words,
I only used one horse, and I was out resting him too much.
You didn't have to rest him too much?
Well, 2 weeks in Colorado, but I tried to keep on the move.
Number one, how long did this trip take?
Nearly 7 months.
And number three, did you do any of it on foot? Did you allow the horse to rest by walking alongside at times?
Only sometimes you have to go uphill and sometimes downhill, but mostly on the flat terrain, we did it together.
Number two, did you carry a bedroll or sleeping bag or anything?
Yes, I carried a 4-pound down sleeping bag.
Number one, if you had it to do over again, would you do it again, going the other way?
No.
That's what number one says. Who knows whether he's the right one? Let's go to Kitty.
That's fascinating. Number three, what was the cost of this trip in toto?
I left with about $100 in my pocket, and by the time I'd crossed the Rockies, I was down to about 25 cents. So I knew I had to do better than that. I was sponsored.
Oh, you were sponsored?
Yes, I was.
Thank you. Number two, did you shoot game en route? You say you lived off the land.
Right, I carried a 45 and a rifle.
Number one, if you would not do this trip again, why is it that you want to establish such a trail for others?
Well, the way I did it, I had to go over man-made obstacles and
Such as?
the modern world. Fences, cut fences, freeways,
Was
bridge
your horse
crossings.
a jumper?
No.
Number
well,
two,
he could jump.
How'd you get over the fences?
Well,
Number two?
I cut the fences.
Oh, number two, did you cut the fences?
Yes.
Is that allowed, number
No.
two?
Yes, I cut fences. It's not allowed, but I tried to repair them after I'd gone through, but occasionally I couldn't.
What kind of a horse?
And that buzzer, Kitty, takes us to Bill.
That's interesting. You mentioned that you lived off the land and slept out of doors, and now added to that was that you cut the fences, so I'll stay with number two. Did you at any time during this entire crossing, number two, run into trouble with the law?
Yes, I did. A couple of times.
Number one, did you at all have any trouble with the law?
Yes, I did.
What particularly did they bug you about? I mean, what?
Wearing a gun and...
Yeah, they get you for that. Especially here, yeah. Number 3, did you ride with your horse on any highways? Was it necessary to ride on any of our modern highways with your horse?
No, just crossing them was the biggest hazard, really, of the whole trip.
What did you have to do? Just sort of wait until, and I'll stay with number 3 about crossing these high-speed highways. Wait until nothing was coming and then gallop like mad? Is that the way you did it, or?
Just take off.
I can imagine coming down a freeway and a horse goes dashing across. Number 2, you mentioned you were sponsored. Was it you, number 2, who said you were sponsored? All right.
But it was.
You were. Where did you get...
We'll never know what you wanted to know, because we're going to go to Ann.
Number 2, I have bad news for you. Your horse was just towed away downstairs. But, no, seriously, number 2. You find that this kind of heavy riding, you got calluses?
Yes, I did.
You did, huh?
I did, yes.
What did you do about that? I don't want to get too graphic, but, you know.
I just walked alongside the horse for a while, and after the first 3 weeks, it wasn't too bad.
Right. Number 3, did you sing to your horse? You know, like in the movies, they'd always sing to the horse, so he'd go over the finish line, or...
Well, I had a tendency to fantasize quite a bit while I
don't
was
want to
on
hear
the
about
trail.
that. No,
But I did do quite a bit of singing to myself, mostly.
You're really attached to that horse, aren't you, number 3?
And that bell, Ann, does us in. We must mark our ballots. Let's take another look while they're doing that. What do you think at home? Do you think it's number 1?
Least likely looking.
Or do you think it's number 2? Or are you certain it's number 3? If you were the producers, it would cost you $50 for each wrong guess, $500 if all the guesses are wrong. Hugh Downs, have you made any decision?
Yes, I have, and I can't really give the reasons except just a feeling that number 1 is the authentic, is the real.
So, working on intuition, we've got a 1 for a 1, and we're going to go down to Kitty.
Well, I voted for number 1 because the way he said he really wouldn't do it again seemed very honest. He gave us an awful lot of information, though, which is unusual for the real one. But he has such a nice face.
That's sweet. We've got a pair of 1s. What's Bill Cullen going to do?
Instead of giving you my reason for why I voted for whom, I want to say that our own Hugh Downs was a pioneer, very much the same. You mentioned that, Gary, but you weren't explicit. Hugh Downs rode a horse all the way to Tahiti, which is very difficult, and for that reason, that didn't go very well, did it?
It was a boat.
I voted for number 1.
It was a boat that he took to Tahiti.
Oh, is that the way you
yes,
get there?
That's why it didn't
I see.
drown.
No wonder I never made it.
Yes. And what are you going to
I'm
do?
going to kill myself.
I guess I'm going to be wrong again, but I'm saying I wrote down number 2, and I'm staying right there, tall in the saddle.
Whatever
Number
you
2,
wrote,
I
you're
love
stuck
your
with.
beard.
And there you go. We've got them all marked down. Will the real Jefferson Spivey please stand up? Thank you, Jeff. Let's find out about your trail buddies here. Number 2, sir, what is your real name? What do you do?
My name is John Masson. I'm a technical journalist and photographer.
Kitty, Bill, can either of you tell me why you didn't vote for number 3? Is there something about number 3 you did?
No.
No, I'll tell you why I didn't, because he looks like the kind of guy who would ride across on a horse like he's almost the...
Looks like typecasting, you mean?
Yeah, like he's made up. But number 1 looks like a stockbroker somewhere, and I figured they're trying to cheat us. So I voted for number 1.
Number 3, will you tell us, please, what your real name is and what you do?
My name is John Lowe. I'm the assistant
It's
stage
not
manager
true.
for No Nanette.
He is made
My
up.
mother is Ruby Keeler, and this is the 4th time in 7 weeks that I've been on to tell the truth.
This is the 4th time in 5 weeks he's been on the show and nobody's recognized him yet.
He's good.
He is good.
He's
Jeff,
good.
Jeff, my friend, are you truly sponsored on this thing, or did you do it by yourself?
Well, the ride itself, I wasn't sponsored. But I'm working on a national trail system now, the Freedom Freeway Trail.
I saw the folder that you had, and you had the backing of Senator Udall and Secretary Udall and several other important people.
The Toyota company has given me a Land Cruiser to get over to negotiate the mountains in the backcountry. I have to live out a good bit. And,
Okay.
Defenders of Wildlife.
Well, Jeff, we got to knock it off. And thank you very much for being with us. And thank you also, imposters, for sharing your time with us on To Tell the Truth.
If you
In addition to the cash awards, our central characters today will receive the World Book Encyclopedia 2-volume dictionary containing 2,300 pages, 2,000 illustrations, and more than 200,000 entries. Transportation and other consideration provided by Chevrolet, featuring the new Monte Carlo. Still the only personal luxury car you can buy for anything near the price with luxury style, craftsmanship, plus traditional Chevrolet value. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.